It is. Okay. So great to have you here. So guys, that's Tom, the guys. So, and if you have some kind of questions to Tom or to me, I just love the post, so you can comment this post. So yeah, it is already there. And I see there as a comment, just saying hello, hi Natalie. Yeah, this dude lives like on his own train. He's rich apparently. Okay, so I guess that's about you, that you have your own train, yo.
Okay. What's that? What's that?
Okay, like you can open, you actually can take a look at my last post. It is in Russian, but comments are in English, so you can open. In my
okay, yeah.
channel. Yeah. Do you see there?
On his own train. Yeah, so interesting story. So yeah, so basically I'm originally from the UK. It's not a train, it's actually a camper van. So we are in the outback. So we're in northwest Australia. And yeah, we basically live in a camper van and we have Starlink. So it's the best internet I've ever used in my life. So we've got Starlink. And yeah, basically it is like a train. It's very big. We have a toilet, a shower. It's great.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay, and I think we'll start, Tom, with like who you are. Just can you show a little bit of detail, like who you are, what do you do? And after that, I think we'll have a lot of questions to ask.
Sure. Yeah, so obviously I'm Tom. Nice to meet you all. So yeah, my professional background was in data engineering. So I worked as a data engineer for about 2.5 years. This was a startup. So when I joined, it was a small startup in marketing, which was really interesting. It grew really rapidly. And yeah, as it grew, basically it got purchased by an American company. So at that point, I basically left. The work had changed. It was okay, but it was more corporate. It was more structured, I suppose. And yeah, I basically left. And so after I left, I traveled for a while and I love to teach. So I taught in some language centers in Malaysia and Vietnam. So I was teaching adults like business English. And then I realized, why don't I combine kind of my data engineering background with teaching? So now I would say most of my students are, software engineers, data engineers, applying to jobs usually. That's why they book me. But yeah, it's been a fun journey. I'm enjoying it so far. So I have my own business now, so which is Speak Tech English. So yeah, we have a newsletter. So we have about what's that?
Yeah. No, I'm just telling, like, we'll share the links later on so the guys can check it out.
Yeah. So we can definitely do that. But yeah, we have a newsletter. We have about 25,000 subscribers on this newsletter. We also do lessons. So we do one-to-one lessons as well. So lessons, some of the lessons that we can do are like business English. We also do kind of interview practice. So this could be technical English. This could be leak code. This could be communication in system design. But also, if you're a product manager, it could also be a case interview. So yeah, we do a wide range of things. So it's not just me. It's also my business partner, Sophie. She also teaches on the platform. But yeah, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We also have some products as well.
Yeah, cool to hear. And as I know, like you had some experience teaching Indian guys. Can you tell me like what exactly you were teaching them? And
Indian guys, I don't know where you've got that from. Where did you get that from? That's not true.
I think out of your, I think it was like on your page. So am I wrong about it? So I just wanted to ask you about this one.
No, I haven't taught many Indian guys, but my partner has. So actually, it's interesting.
Okay,
So recently there is actually more Indians taking English lessons. So definitely in the past, when I first started, this was not a thing. But yeah, now I would say there is more interest from people in India. But I haven't really taught any people in India. Maybe it was my partner. Maybe that's where the confusion came from.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry, guys, if I confused you. Okay, thank you. And firstly, I wanted like to ask a question, like how actually you turned from your tech career to English teaching career? Why?
Yeah, so I guess, I always found I loved data engineering. I liked
Uh-huh.
that. Part of it was we had to go back to the office, so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like that. I wanted to work remotely, and I also
Yeah.
wanted to travel around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, I've been traveling around the world. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're in Australia now, but before this, we were in South America, also parts of Asia. So yeah, it was kind of a mixture of wanting to travel, also my enjoyment of teaching. I love to teach people. I love to meet people. I love to
Mm-hmm.
talk to people. So that's another factor. And teaching languages kind of made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Of
so yeah,
course.
so it was a combination of things,
Yeah,
I'd say.
right. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. And today, we have some practical questions too, let's say, so related to hiring processes and CVs and interview preparations and something related to this. So I have some questions to you, and definitely guys have some questions to you. So like, are you okay to answer those?
It's a Q&A,
Okay,
right?
of course. So, and firstly, I wanted to start with one big thing. And I really want your opinion about it. Because many of our guys are very anxious about creating their CVs and creating them in the right way. Because I'll tell you why. Because actually, to the first, because they aren't even invited to any kind of interviews to get ready. So, and it is a first stage, and to make you seen, right? But by your professional by your future
Yeah.
employees or something. So, and actually, people, how to say, they try to use some strange, not I can say not really strange, but they use a lot of generated ones, like AI generated ones. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, right? Some of them are appropriate, some of them are not really appropriate, and they have a lot of buzzwords or something. And my question will be, firstly, my question will be about ATS, right?
Yeah.
So, and also Daniel has, I think, the same kind of questions. So, how ATS important, and maybe you have some experience, like how many cases you've heard that, I mean, CVs were declined by ATS, but actually CV was looking good. So, how ATS important in all these processes, according
Yeah.
to your
I mean,
opinion?
yeah. So from my perspective, my perspective is obviously I teach a lot of people who are applying to jobs, so I
Yeah.
know it through them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Of course.
based on my experience, if you get declined almost immediately or on the same day, you know that the company's using ATS.
Of course.
Um, Again, what percentage are using ATS? It's hard to say. Certainly smaller companies probably wouldn't be using it, I
Yeah.
suppose. Any company with a large volume of applicants is probably using ATS at first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I really hate ATS. I think it's a terrible,
Me
terrible
too.
thing because what it's doing, it just matches keywords on the job
Yeah.
description to the keywords on your CV, and it's just a really bad way of doing it. But
Yeah.
I understand if they get 2,000 applicants, you need to filter them quickly. You don't have time to look at them. But big companies are almost certainly using ATS at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. And there is one more question, I think, related to this. Many people generate CVs right now. How
Yeah.
safe it is? What What do you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the AI model.
Uh-huh.
So if you can generate a CV which is very human,
Uh-huh.
then sure. As a native speaker, if you've generated your CV using AI, I'll
Uh-huh.
probably be able to tell. There's certain buzzwords like resonates, like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like the overuse of adjectives.
Yeah.
So another thing you also see is like,
Data-driven
it's like
stuff all the time.
exactly, exactly. And so it'll be like managed and implemented. So,
Uh-huh.
there's certain things that you can tell that are kind of AI generated.
Uh-huh.
Um, but if you want to be smart, you can generate a CV using AI. and then you can use something like Quillbot, which will humanize your CV. So it knows these patterns, and it will kind of undo these patterns. But still, it's difficult basically. But it depends on your AI model. If you've got a good AI model, then not a problem.
Yeah, it depends on the prompts as well. So have to recheck it, correct, if it is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have one more ATS related question. So can you see that in comments?
Yep. Yep. So if ATS is base, so I guess the first step, right? Should I retry with slight changes in my CV cover letter? Yeah. I mean, the way I see it, right, is if they want to use AI, as an applicant, we should be able to use AI. So I personally think it's a good way to do it. What I would do, I would have like a document specifically on LaTeX. So LaTeX is a software where, if you've used any kind of university programming, you've probably used LaTeX. It's like a way to produce documents quickly. So I would get LaTeX, and I would have like a CV that you like. The key here is to have like a CV with 2 or maybe 3 pages. And so what you can do is you can say to LaTeX, take this LaTeX template, take this job description, and customize my CV based on the template, based on the job description. So the key thing here is to say, don't change the CV, don't add any buzzwords, don't change it at all, just select. So that's the best approach. So you can really quickly adjust, your CV depending on the job description, and it's just a ChatGPT command. So I highly recommend that. But again, the key is to have a big CV, and then that will be mapped to a small 1-page CV.
Yeah, sure.
So that's a good approach. So yes, you should definitely change your CV and letter. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And we have one more question there. Should we add all skills, frameworks, or lastly, can be more preferable for ATS and HR?
Yeah, that's a good question. So definitely. So what I like to do is I like to have keywords at the top. So ATS looks at the keyword and it says, oh, it's in the job description. It's a match. And so you have to have 65% match, or maybe less, like a 50% match. If not, you're rejected. So so having a keyword section is very, very important. But one thing I would say that a lot of people make this mistake is they use Canva, or they use software like this. And so the problem with that is the ATS scanner cannot scan, it cannot understand this text because it's a PDF. And so the structure it's incorrect, and it won't be able to extract keywords. So PDFs are really weird. So I like PDFs, but I think LaTeX is much cleaner, much better, or a Google Doc, and then save that as a PDF. Just because Canva, it's too formatted, and it's difficult to extract keywords from that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I wanted to ask you, so what is the most frequent mistakes you have seen in your maybe students' CVs if you work on them together? Because according to my whatever, the impact was not really clear. Yeah, so for example, actually list what they did, right? Not what they have done. Yeah, and I don't see that how valuable this candidate is actually. Okay, and I really wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, there is a lot of mistakes that I see. So personal pronouns is a big one. People saying I, we.
This is the thing. Actually, we had a huge argument about it, by the way. But is it okay to say these pronouns or not? Because I have, successful cases, people who actually applied and got hired, and people who, and it's I want to ask you about that, how important it is about
It's just repetitive. It's just
Mhm.
repetitive. If you're saying a sentence and you're saying
Uh,
I every time, the
every
CV is about you. So of
shot.
course, I would omit I. It's like it's your CV. Obviously, it's I. So it's obviously you.
Okay,
So I would omit it.
cool.
It's
Okay,
too much. Takes up too much space. It's
okay, okay.
repetitive. So like if you see I on every line, sure.
Uh-huh.
If you're a really good candidate and you worked at Google and you
Okay.
use personal pronouns, you're going to get the job probably. Um, so it depends on the person, right?
Yep, yep.
Um,
So guys, I accept like not too many I's because I basically allowed to my guys to use I in the
yeah,
beginning summary. So, and to use I, like to start with not only like, for example, system analyst, but I am a system analyst. But
yeah.
okay, guys. So like you have heard Tom's word and I actually believe you. So,
Again,
okay.
honestly, the weird thing is, there's no right answers. It's just ultimately that's a better approach. But,
Okay.
I've seen CVs which look awful, really, really bad. But
Okay.
because they look bad, the
Yes.
recruiter notices them and
Yeah.
then they get noticed, they pay more attention,
Of
and
course.
they're more likely to get the job. So, there's a general thing you can say, oh, this is
Of
generally
course.
what works. But of
Of course.
course, there are exceptions to the rule. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you because it is just a little thing. Because normally there are some problems, they're like much bigger problems than this. And
yeah,
normally the
exactly.
impact is not clear, result is not clear, and I mean like a lot of buzzwords or something like this. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. So I usage and what else?
So yeah, so there's lots. So yeah, talking about impact, I would say, you know, especially for software engineers, it's quite clear what impact you should have. So like a junior in
Mm-hmm.
general would have an impact on like a project or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a team. Like a
Mm-hmm.
senior person might have an impact on kind of the business or the department or the team or strategy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you really have to think about there's impact,
Uh-huh.
and then there's like, is that impact, does that reflect your experience? So,
Uh-huh.
a junior can say, oh, we increased the runtime by 20%. That's
Uh-huh.
great. Maybe someone senior would say, I don't know, we changed the business vision, or we changed, something more high level,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your role, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
usually your impact has to reflect your
Mm-hmm.
seniority. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
another big thing I see.
Mm.
Um,
Cool one. Cool
so,
one. And sorry.
so I was going to say another big one, especially for Russian CVs that I see, is there's a big emphasis on hard skills
Mm-hmm.
and not enough soft skills. So obviously in the UK, for example, we look at hard skills and soft skills, whereas in countries like China, especially, and Russia to some extent, hard skills are more preferable. And
That's true.
I would say, yeah, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, like in yeah, I agree with you. So, for example, talking about Russian companies, and also I see like this tendency in CIS countries. So, like
Yeah,
people can can take a look at your hard skills, at your results, and okay, we can get along somehow with this guy. But actually, yeah,
yeah.
I truly agree with you. And also wanted to ask one more time about impact. So you said it should be okay, I wanted to ask how aligned it should be with business goals. Like, for example, how it is important for a developer, maybe how it is important for some higher position guy.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the role you're applying to.
Mm-hmm.
If you're applying to a tech lead
Yeah.
who has a lot of business, they have to align with some business vision or business strategy, or they have to talk to product managers. Again, it's not like this. It's like specific to the job description that you're applying to, really. So the impact, if you're applying to like a business side software engineer, then your impact should be more about working with, product managers, working with, stakeholders. Whereas if it's like a pure tech focused
Mm-hmm.
background, then the impact's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, the impact should be, I don't know, I did this thing on a project and
Mm-hmm.
now it's used across the organization. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be like a technical impact. which has a lot of value. Someone that's senior would be expected to do that, or like a tech lead would be expected to do that, or like a CTO would be expected to do that. So they build things which are repeatable, scalable, and used, across different departments, for example. Whereas a junior, they might just build something that's used once, perhaps. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and also I wanted to ask one more thing. Like I have an idea of tailoring your CV to some specific roles. So for example, you have one, maybe this is a basic one. And once you want to apply to some specific role, you have to tailor that a bit according to their needs. So what do you think about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So what I do is I have this thing called a master CV. So the master CV is not for anyone to see. It's only for me, just for me, because it's messy. It's not perfect. And so what this is, it's huge and it's an ongoing document. So you're always adding to this CV. When you do it, you add to this document. So say you're doing a project, you write about this project now, so you don't forget the details. So you write about who was on the project, what's the impact, what went well, even how would you improve it, and what tools, what technologies, what were the metrics. So these things you forget. So you should always have this document and always add to this document. And so when you apply to a job, if you want, you can take from this document the most suitable and copy and paste it. So that's a good approach. That's a very good approach, I would say.
Thank you. Okay, that's great. Thank you. And we have more questions in our, let's say, chat. So do you have any interesting cases, workaround strategies where your client from CIS countries received a global job offer? So yeah, I have. Oh, so Tom and Julia, but I think it will be more related to you. So like, for example, I have like Canadian offers and this kind of like, if it will be interesting, I can share. But I think, Tom, today you are the star.
You go for it, Julia. You go for it.
Okay, so for example, I have one case, and this girl has already moved to Canada. So this was the thing. So this is an important thing. So when people already have moved to some certain country, it is a bit easier because like I have some guys who have already moved to Germany, yeah, for example, and they started applying. But talking about strategies, just a second, I have to handle my dog. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. So talking about companies, I will take a look at it. I remember the positions. So it was Q&A, it was ML, and it was something related to not an account manager, but CRM manager, something like this. So I'll take a look at the vacancy, at the companies. And about strategies from my side, so what actually was a strategy to get this job? So firstly, we worked on a self-introduction. So how to introduce yourself properly. So how to analyze the company's needs, to understand what to say during this self-introduction. Basically, after that, we analyzed what the company is doing and so what their needs are. And we analyzed the vacancy itself to tailor our CV to this. And after that, we practiced case description. So we used STAR method. And I think it was like, if I can outline the basic preparation, it was like this. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, so it was the basic one. And that they could be able to answer any kind of question, like based on our case description practice, like we did before. So I think it was something related to this. Yeah, like one case I'm boasting about. So I was preparing one guy to Google interview. Unfortunately, he wasn't hired because it was a little bit of a downgrade. So, and they asked why you decided to downgrade basically, but he said, but it is Google. So I just wanted to try. But there is one interesting trend that people are looking for sometimes people are looking for candidates of the same experience they already require. So like exactly the same experience. And like the bigger the company, sometimes the harder these requirements can be. Like the more similar these requirements should match what they are looking for. But basically it was also a nice experience. So, okay, I think I'm done with it, but I can talk about some of these cases more precisely or can make some posts about it. Okay. And Tom, would you like to share some of these cases?
Yeah. So just a general approach, obviously understanding the company, it's obvious, but understanding the process, understanding every round of the interview, looking for reviews. So you can use things like Glassdoor to get reviews of the interview process, or you can go to Reddit, just say, hey, I'm interviewing at, Google. Has anyone got any advice? I'm doing this, so just communicating with people, networking, trying to get the inside knowledge. That's always good. Obviously there's loads of different types of interviews, but, going into detail, for example, with like a system design, what designs do they have at this organization? If it's Google, they have like they have Gemini, they have, various kind of AI tools that they're trying to integrate into Google, so understanding what systems they use, revising those system designs. Maybe they've given you some information about that already. And then, based on that, trying to polish your approach. So asking clarification questions, communicating as you're doing the system design, or if it's leak code, communicating as you're doing it, and having like some default phrases. So what I see with leak code and system design is, especially Russian speakers or non-native speakers, they don't want to think. They can do it in Russian, but they have to think in English. So they have to they think in Russian and then have to speak in English. So this takes time. Time. And so what I recommend is having like some default phrases that you're always using, you're building on them, like in terms of. So the idea is to try to reduce the latency, so the time it takes for you to think about something. And then that means you can spend more time actually doing the technical problem, like leak code. Because obviously as a non-native, you have two problems: the technical challenge and then kind of English communication skills.
True.
So it's doubly hard, right?
I can say like we have even sorry to interrupt you, but we have them in the third one. We have them in the third one because like not to know English, that's okay, right? To have some maybe core English, that's okay, but and by we, I mean Russian-speaking people, are really nervous, like when we meet someone and we have to speak English with this person, even we know English pretty well. So when you see the person for the first time, and that's why like we also try to practice some approaches how to reduce stress level as well, because sometimes it's also will be needed, because sometimes I listen to some kind of people and I understand that the problem is not in English actually. So in this kind of situation, the person speaks English well, just the person got terribly lost when, I don't know, met someone for the first time, especially if that person was looking, I don't know, too serious or something. And that's why like...
So what I just want to say about a workaround strategy. So I don't really know what that means, but I'm going to guess that it's like an alternative way of kind of getting a job, or like an approach, right? An approach. So a good approach, like a bit of a hack. So like a good approach that I've seen in the past is if you are from cis countries, I would apply to more technical roles. So let's say it's a software engineering role. The reason for that is there's still communication, obviously, but there's less communication. So I've seen a higher chance, like a higher conversion rate for people going for like back-end roles or like technical roles. Whereas for like manager roles or kind of roles which are really communicative, it's harder. Not because your English is bad, but because this is hard anyway, even for English speakers. To be a leader, it's hard, let alone in another language. It's even harder. So, going for more technical roles is a good approach as well, I would say.
Yeah, thank you. I totally understand what you're talking about. And for example, alongside with English, sometimes we are working on soft skills as well. But I mean, not only like how to say, for example, how to reply in a good way when you don't agree. Yeah. Or for example, how to request or how to push in the right way. Yeah. Because, I mean, maybe for some people it's kind of obvious, but for me, it was a surprise a long time ago that we react in different ways. So for example, if I want to push you, so in many countries, it will mean different. So for example, like with some people I can talk directly, with some people I can't. So, and some people I can push directly, some people I can't. And we have some kind of cultures that at work, we talk about work actually. So, and it's okay not to share something like, as there are some bigger companies, for example, Yandex or some companies like that, they have some private chats where you can share your dog's pictures or something like this. But I mean, naturally, like if you have a work chat, you talk about work there. So, and it's okay. And it doesn't matter, I don't know what kind of weather or I don't know, political situation is around. It doesn't mean that people are not interested. Yeah, it means like this, field is for work. We will discuss the other stuff somewhere else in DM maybe. So, and that's why but for some people, like it's really interesting when they get hired in, for example, again, talking about experience with a girl who was hired in a Canadian company. She said she was really shocked a little bit. So during the meetings, firstly, they started with the weather. They started how they actually feel, how they affect by weather. And she was like, okay, when we going to start talking about what we have done yesterday? Like what we actually did yesterday. So, and it was unnatural for her, firstly. And after that, we talked also about this, and we were talking about small talk and stuff that, we just, like we have small talk, but it's a little bit different. Okay. Yeah, it is a big thing that small talks are not really natural here. Like somewhere, but not at work normally. And there is one more question from Almaz. Can you take a look? So what is the best way to work with the client with a low English level, maybe with low of communication? I mean, the client has low English level or you? Almaz, can you specify?
I guess it doesn't matter. I guess if one party has low English skills, it's just a question of being direct, getting them to repeat back to you. Like, if you think that they don't understand, get them to summarize it back to you in their own words. So, asking questions early, trying to understand if they understand. It's difficult, but being very direct. That's a good approach. Graphs, charts, showing them video calls. I mean, these are all good approaches as well. But I would say ultimately, getting them to repeat back to you what you've said. But it depends how bad is their English, right? I don't know.
Visual aids, maybe.
Visual aids, yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you. That's great. What I can add from, my side. So maybe to use verbs a lot. So it will be clear for the person, what actually was done, right? What to do, a call to action. So what to do with this kind of information. So sometimes I ask guys to use a lot of verbs, let's say, when you describe actions.
Also, another interesting one would be to use some software. So to transcribe. So say it's a meeting on Zoom. You can actually get them to transcribe the meeting notes. And so then you can take the transcription and again, use AI to say, if I'm the person with low English skills or low communication skills, I would take the transcript, I'd record the video or take a transcript, upload that to ChatGPT and say, just test my understanding, or am I thinking along the right lines? Is this what he wants to do in my native language? So you're kind of, again, using AI to your advantage. Transcription, recording the video is really good. And then, having that same conversation with AI, Claude
Cool.
or ChatGPT.
And also, like, you could use captions, right? Don't forget about this cool option during the meetings, because actually it helps a lot. Like, you can, like, I think you have captions in Google Meeting, in Zoom, and in Teams, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they are just inbuilt there, and you can use them. And I'm sure, I don't know, the people you talk to better. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And Tom, I think we have more questions. Hello, Tom and Julia. Do you think that people are now hired only the candidate has expertise in a specific area of business? Or like we were talking about this, like now people are very specific about people they hire. So for example, a data analyst in the field of outdoor sports. Is it better to narrow your niche and look for a job where there is business expertise? Okay, actually, there is a trend like this. Yeah, so Tom, I will ask about your experience.
Yeah. So yeah, my experience. So yeah, there's many approaches. Yeah, so you kind of have niching down, or going wide with your applications. So I would say do both. So you can do both, right? So becoming really niche is great. Maybe you do that for 50% of the time, and then the other 50% of the time you go wide. Yeah, I'd say in terms of conversion rates, of course, the niche, you're more likely to get a job in that very niche area, just because you're more skilled, you have more relevant experience, and they're going to be more interested in that, what you can do for them. So yeah, you'll probably have more success going niche, but going wide is also a good strategy. Just once in a while, just sending off an application. Yeah, so a combination of both is probably a good strategy, I would say.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And also, like, how to say, I'm just thinking, I'm afraid, like, okay, a niche is a really cool thing, but if you don't want to limit your chances, right? So definitely it's a great thing to try both. And for example, if you see some interesting vacancy, which is related to some specific niche, I would definitely outline at least maybe not an experience in this sphere, but at least an interest. Yeah, at least a keen interest in this sphere. And for example, if you will be chosen for the interview, I would highlight my interest in this sphere too. And I would read, or I would get to know a little bit more details about what they're doing in this niche, what they're doing in this sphere. So to be able to answer the question, so they would understand at least this person has an interest here. So which is really cool though. So
yeah, I think obviously, once you get the job or the interview, obviously you want to just focus on that one company, of course. So the first stage, in my eyes, it's a numbers game. So that means, you just send as many applications as you can. It's just a numbers game. So obviously in the last few years, what we've seen is lots of fake jobs.
Sure.
Lots of jobs are posted for marketing. So sometimes when you apply to a job, it will say, follow our company. And it's like a marketing campaign. It's not a job app. It's not an open job. It's a marketing campaign. Lots of scam companies. So there's thousands of jobs out there. So it is just a numbers game. Maybe 60 to 70% are actually hiring. The other 30, maybe they're waiting for a unicorn. Like, I don't know what they're waiting for, but maybe if a unicorn, or maybe like Elon Musk or like Jeff Bezos applies to their job, then they'll accept. But they're just collecting resumes, and they're not necessarily hiring. But if the right person applies to the job, then they'll hire them. Sure, why not? So
like
that's But my point is like, it's a numbers game. But that being said, if you really like a company and you think you're a really good fit, then spend a lot of time on that. Really craft your CV, craft your cover letter. But for 90% of the companies, just send it and see. You don't even know if it's a real company, So it's a numbers game mostly. But if there's a company, for me, I would love to work as a data engineer at the Met Office. So I would spend a lot of time crafting that CV, really specializing in kind of answering their questions, answering their pain points. But for the most part, it's just a numbers game.
Sure, sure. And just the thing to add, like you said about spending a lot of time, like I totally agree with that. For example, I had a student and she is still getting ready to apply for Zalando. She really wants it by some reason, like she really wants it. And she even passed a paid course related to the platforms they use. So because
that's great. That's really good.
Yeah, Syrian platform in Russia, but it is like widely used abroad and in their companies for sure, in their company for sure. So she just paid for the course and she studied this, and definitely she highlighted it in her CV. And if someone will ask do you have experience with it, she has now because
that's
she was
right.
do their things.
Definitely.
So yeah.
So the way I see it is, say you really like a company, like the Zalando example.
Yeah.
You want to, make it as easy as possible for Zalando to employ you. So what do? You understand their company really, really well. Maybe you read their blog, watch videos about them, read the Wikipedia. Obviously, you can't do this for every company, but for ones that you really, really like, you're going to have to do so much research, really impress them. And then in the interview, reference that. Say, I was reading your blog, and one thing that really struck me was the way that you blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. But, to really impress them is to show that you've researched them. And that's a really good example where she's actually used their software to solve problems. And actually, if you can solve their problems, so you find out their pain points, why are they hiring you? Find out their pain points and literally solve their problem. Say, I've built this software, which is an e-commerce, it's like a script that scrapes e-commerce, I don't know, whatever Zalando do. And, it kind of does what your software does. So I've replicated this, and they'd be much, much more inclined to do that. Obviously, it takes a lot of time. So I'm not suggesting to do that for every company, but it's definitely a good approach. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I actually wanted. So, and I have one more question to you, but it will be so. Actually, a lot of people who I discussed their CV with, so they had some questions related to gaps in their CVs. So, for example, if we talk about Russian-speaking people, like many of them moved abroad, and it took time, obviously, to start a life there. So, and some of them spent half of a year or a year without a job, basically. So, and here in Russia, so if people see some gaps, I think still a good HR can ask about the reasons, and there are some good reasons for that, right? And but still some of them treat it as something not really good. And I wanted to ask you about your attitude, and maybe you had some experience with that, because so far whatever things we had, the thing which worked, they were talking about this period. They were studying, and preferably they were studying English, right? Because of course, obviously, the Russian-speaking people. So they spend, for example, half of a year learning English, pretty proactively, and so and after that they started looking for jobs or something. But okay, I really wanna hear your opinion about it.
Yeah. So again, it shouldn't be this way. So I think there's nothing wrong with a gap on your CV. That's my personal opinion.
Mine
Again,
too.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But it depends on the person and it depends on the company. The way I see it is, if I've got a gap on my CV and if the company doesn't like it, I don't want to work there. Because that to me says the company culture, maybe it's traditional, maybe it's really traditional, and they don't understand that people have side projects or other ventures or business ideas. Do I want to work there? Maybe not. So if anything, you being yourself, it's fine. If you took time to travel, that's fine. Sorry, we're repeating. I don't know how we're doing that. But in my opinion, it's not a problem. But it's all about how you paint the picture. So saying, "Oh, I took 6 months off to travel," it's not great. If you say, "I took 6 months off and I learned English to C1 level," I had AWS. I learned I got AWS certifications, which is related to your job role. Yeah, that's much better. Or I started a business. But that's do you want to work for a company that looks down on your experience, and they say, "Oh, well, why have you taken this time off?" Maybe that reflects on the company, not you. That's the company's decision. So maybe that's a good thing that you avoided them. But obviously everyone wants a job, right?
Yeah, I totally understand, and I totally see your point. Just I think the thing is, and it is a very different thing, that we, and what again I say we, right? So like, for example, you and the other guys, Russian-speaking guys, are looking for jobs, so we are not in the same position, right?
Yeah.
And so, and you know what I mean. So like, because guys have way tougher requirements. Yeah, and I don't talk about culture difference and stuff. So because like the competition for the place is rather high, and especially the people who want to relocate. Yeah, and this is the thing. And also, for example, you can find many specialists within Russia who are in Russia currently, and it is also a problem sometimes for an employer, right? They would rather choose someone who has already immigrated on their own. And that's why I understand that the best thing it is being yourself and honesty and stuff. But sometimes we have to work with this kind of stuff because we are not in the same position here, especially these couple of years.
So, of course.
Yeah, and that's why talking about these kind of tricks and people's workarounds or something, because sometimes
it's all about how you frame it. So if I'm a recruiter and I see someone's worked for 3 years at this company non-stop, I'd say, okay, I'm guessing maybe they're stable. Maybe it's a stable person. Maybe they were happy in their job. If I see someone, they work for a year, they have 6 months off. They work for a year, they have 6 months off. Do I want that at my company where they're just maybe going to leave after a year? Maybe. But, you have to think about their perspective as well. But again, it's all how you frame it. If you say, I took 6 months to start my business, I grew my business from X to Y, I secured this many clients, great. That's fine. If anything, that's impressive. It shows that you are, you're confident in yourself. You take your own initiative. That's a good thing. So it's all about how you explain it.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And we've got a question people understand how to train their hard skills, and what are Bibles actually how to train soft skills? It is a good question, by the way. And I'll tell you why it is good, because it's people are in it, because some years ago, people didn't believe me that soft skills are also important, and they deserve your interest, by the way. So Tom, what do you think? So how to train your soft skills? What is the best way?
I think it's a skill. I also think it's a trainable skill.
Yeah.
So I don't mean it's, if you're born with it, great. If you're not born with it, you can still train that. So if you listen to stories like Jensen, NVIDIA, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, he was a shy boy when he was younger, but he trained his soft skills over time and developed. I guess, doing things like public speaking, making yourself feel nervous. If you feel nervous, you're growing. So that's a good thing. You want to put yourself in situations where you'll grow, where you're scared, where you're anxious. Because if you're doing that, you become comfortable in that situation. And the next time you do it, your brain, it acts differently and you perform better. So it's all about practice still. But yeah, soft skills, Bibles, I would say, what's that one called? We went through it.
Culture, actually.
The culture map is quite good. Yeah, the culture map is quite good. Yeah, I mean, there's some YouTube channels. I can't think of them now, but yeah,
We
I'd say the culture map is a good read.
We can send them later.
Yeah.
And by the way, like talking about soft skills, what I can add, maybe that's not obvious one. So I'm the person who watched a lot of political videos, by the way. So, and for example, the way, like, it doesn't, like, I'm not talking about the meaning of their meetings sometimes, but the way they reply to some uncomfortable questions, right? It is a thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, you can take a look how they get out of some tricky situations, right? So what kind of words they use sometimes, and how do they ask questions, right? So, and this is a good thing because like soft skill, like hard skill, it is the things that you can train with a book definitely, or with some kind of certain exercise. But soft skill is impossible without other people. So like definitely we need to talk to people and we need to observe a lot. We need to observe how they react because, for example,
That's
like,
right.
yeah, I really like to watch other people. So for example, when I see them in some kind of challenging or tricky situation, I can say, oh, that's an interesting way how they got out of there. So I didn't think about it. And yeah, the more you follow, the more it will be. So definitely communicate to more people. So even like maybe offline speaking clubs, maybe just for a start, like not to keep it as a certain focus, yeah, but to do something else together and to get to know some people you don't get in, like stepping out of your comfort zone in this matter. Like maybe, I don't know if you are a data engineer, maybe there will be some conference or kind of meetings, at least to talk, like to have some the same interest to start with, or what else, a date. I don't know. It is a perfect thing. So I think to try to visit some dates as well. And definitely like, yeah, watching something like, yeah, we will talk about that and probably will recommend something. Thank you. Thank you for the question, guys. And thank you,
Tom. I was going to say one last thing was with this, if you record yourself, so like maybe you generate a random question on ChatGPT, so you can actually record yourself, listen to yourself. Do you sound confident? Do you sound, like you know what you're talking about? Then watch yourself without the audio. So do you look confident? Are you sitting up straight? Are you projecting confidence? Do you look good? Do you look happy? Are you smiling? Like looking at these things, it's hard. It's also horrible to hear yourself speaking. It's horrible. But again, that's how you can grow. So you can watch that video, watch back what's going well, compare yourself to Jeff Bezos, compare yourself to these world leaders, and then see, okay, what are they doing differently? So that's a good way of doing it as well.
Thank you. And it is, by the way, a really good thing you noted. So like if you feel that something is complicated for you, if you feel nervous, it is a growth actually. So don't take it as something is going wrong now. Something is going right. So, and this is the thing. If everything is too easy, so like probably you need to raise your level. And Tom, I really didn't want to hold you here for too long, but I have the last question to you. Just for example, like if guys will have the other questions, if you will have time, you can reply in chat if you want to. So like, I wanted to ask you one question. For example, you have an interview tomorrow. So maybe like what kind of, like, could you outline the actions you would do? So you have an interview tomorrow.
Yeah. So I'm immediately taking my CV. I'm copy and pasting that into a note. And I'm going to take the job description. And I'm going to match my CV and the job description. And where we have a match, I'm going to elaborate. So I'm going to say, oh, they're looking for someone with, I don't know, experience using Python or some software development kit. I'm going to talk about a project where I've had a result, a success related to that. And I'm going to go through the job description. I'm also going to prepare a list of questions for the interviewer. I'm going to research the interviewer. I'm going to find out who they are. And I'm going to try and small talk with them, build a relationship. I don't want them to forget me. I want them to remember me. I'll say, oh, I see you're based in London. I see you're hosting the Olympics this year. Are you excited? Just something to break the ice. And they remember that. Also, I'm going to research the blog. Is there something that really excites me? Lots of people, I can't wait to make my stakeholders happy. I'm so excited to make my stakeholder. No, it's bullshit. I want to find something that's really interesting. So, you know, if it's Zalando, I'd be like, you know what? The final delivery problem, the final mile problem in delivery services, that's an interesting problem. And I want to solve that. You know, we don't know how to solve that. And that's interesting to me. And so that enthusiasm and that realness they'll remember that. So being real, they'll remember that. And yeah, I think preparing a list of questions for them. Also, again, research Glassdoor, talk to other people, try to network with other people if they've done something similar. What advice would you get? But yeah, having this note, writing about all of your experience, also taking their core values. So if it's Amazon leadership principles, take their core values, create stories for all of them, every single one. Yeah,
cool.
That's what I do.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. It's a very extensive answer. Very like how to say back. Thanks, you shared your technique, let's say, your way of thinking. And thank you for being with us today. And as I said, we will have if you're gonna have some free time, so yeah, you can reply to the guys in chat. And guys,
I don't think I will, as I'm going out for a meal now. So
later.
I'll try. Maybe later, but yeah.
It's okay, not a problem. Thank you for being here anyway, because I know we have a huge time difference. And thank you for you guys being here. Like, we had a lot of people today. That's really cool. And most of them stayed until the end. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. So see you later. Cool. I will share later on the links related to the stuff Tom does. And later on, I think I will create some kind of summary, like, of our meeting. I think it will be useful for the people who couldn't attend. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, well, nice to meet everyone. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to meet you. Bye. See you later. Bye.
Bye.